to these kind of.
Good afternoon, sir.
Maybe
Sure. Mr. Pillai, good afternoon. Sir, unmute.
Yes, sir.
Namaste, Pillai ji, kaise hain aap?
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, good, very good, sir.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Pillai ji, welcome. Good afternoon, Mr. Thorsten. You are also in Germany or some other country?
I'm based in Germany as well. Yeah,
Okay.
just around Munich.
Good afternoon, Dr. Toshio. Unmute, sir.
Sorry. Do you hear me?
Yes, yes, sir. We are hearing you and we are able to see you also. Perfect.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Toshio. How are you, sir?
Oh, yeah. Mr. Pillai. Oh.
Yes.
You are one of the organizers.
Yes, yes, sir.
With your permission, Chair, sir, I think we may start. And meanwhile, we have one more speakers and the panelists. They will join later on. Huh? So I will keep on following up with them so that they should follow the timeline. So welcome to Global Summit of Flexible Packaging. This is the two-day summit, today and tomorrow. And for your information that we have got very good registrations. It is crossing 1200 plus registration from India as well as all across world. So very good number. In fact, over 800 registration is from Indian companies. That includes companies in several segments. That is food mainly, as well as agri, as well as pharma companies, and also those who are service providing companies and the user groups. So we have a very good numbers, and we hope that we will be having a very good session. And we have also circulated the information to all the registered attendees that if they have any questions, so they can also share with us so that we can, as far as possible, we should take up during this session. Or otherwise, we will also send the respective questions to the concerned speaker so that it would be answered later on as well. So now I request my co-chairman, Mr. Ajit Gupta, to please formally deliver the welcome address, please.
Yeah, welcome to all of you. Good afternoon. I'm so happy to be here today. On behalf of PST CCI, I welcome all our esteemed international and national speakers and all the participants to the 2 days virtual global summit on flexible packaging. Today is being the first day of the summit. We'll be focusing more on future-ready flexible packaging, and our speakers will address on latest technology in film extrusion, sustainable mono-material, high-barrier laminates for food packaging, advanced mechanical recycling of metal barrier, flexible packaging materials, technology for pouch making with mono material, deliverables from the brand owner's perspective, etc. Tomorrow, we will focus on future-ready flexi tubes. I'm delighted to note the presence of the esteemed speakers from India as well as international speakers from Japan, Germany, Bulgaria, and Switzerland. It is my great honor to welcome you to the summit. I welcome Mr. Toshio Yamaguchi, Senior Counselor at Sales and Marketing Department of Totani Corporation, Japan. Mr. Christoph Letovsky, Technical Director of Riefenhauser Blomfilm, Germany. Mr. Thorsten Hornung, CEO of Separatech GmbH, Germany. And Dr. Meenu Sachdeva, Assistant General Manager of Ultimate Packaging Limited, India. Mr. Deepak, nahi aaya abhi. Mrs. Himanshi Mahajan, Head of the Packaging Development of Mother Dairy Fruit and Vegetable Private Limited. Mr. Jeevraj Pillai, my co-chair, my colleague in the Packaging Committee. And our Mr. Yudhvir Ji Chauhan. And there are some people who are yet to join, such as Dr. Tanveer Alam, Dr. Madhav Chakravarti, and some more people will join this discussions later on. So I will welcome all of you, and I welcome all the attendees. Those are participating through our online portal and YouTube. Today we have participants not only from India, but also from several other countries in this summit. We are noticing since last few years that flexible packaging is rapidly replacing traditional packaging, such as glass jars and metal cans, mainly due to the multiple benefits, such as extended shelf life, cost-effective, lightweight, and less cost of transportation. This reduces the cost of production. There is significant growth of flexible packaging across food, beverage, cosmetics, and personal care products, household and pharmaceutical products. Flexible packaging continues its trajectory due to its lightweight, durability, graphic impact, convenience, and supply chain benefits. Recently, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the consumers are more health conscious and looking for hygiene and safety features. There is global concern for the environment as well. In view of this demand, there is huge scope of innovation and new technology in flexible packaging. The numerous packaging converters are developing new innovative monopolymer, fully recyclable, flexible packaging laminates. In case of sustainability, we will also witness continued transition from plastic to paper flexible packaging. Plastic provides significant benefits of barrier functionality, delivering resistance to gases, moisture, light, and aroma where needed. But for certain packaging, such as confectionery packs, paper is more suitable, and brands also find it more appropriate in terms of environmental concerns. I'm sure the deliberations during this two-day global summit on flexible packaging will benefit the industry and all of us. Friends, once again, I welcome you all. Thank you and stay safe. Over to you, Rakesh ji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Yes, the flexible packaging is the future. So now I request our another co-chairman, Mr. Jeevraj Pillai. He is the joint vice president of UFlex Limited and also the co-chairman of PSG-CCI National Committee of Packaging. Sir, I request to please deliver your address, please. Sir, unmute, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible, Rakesh ji?
Yes, sir. Bilkul clear.
I would like to welcome you all to this exciting session today. I just heard from Rakesh that there are over 1,400 registrations which took place about an hour ago. It is indeed very heartening to see the level of participation today. We all know that Indian packaging industry is poised to cross over $70 billion in volume and continues to grow at a CAGR of 18%. Flexible packaging enjoys the highest share from this portion. Having said this, it is important to note that the industry is at crossroads, confused about the direction it must take. Although the discussions on sustainability and circular economy have been around for some time, a clear-cut and discrete direction for the industry was missing. However, guidelines from major FMCG companies and food companies and the recently announced EPR guidelines define the course of action now and propose a clear way forward for every stakeholder of the industry. It's very clear now what we have to do. The EPR also encourages the producers and brand owners to work in the direction of reducing plastic waste by recycling, reusing the recycled contents, and the use of biodegradable packaging. It is now no more a matter of choice. PSDCCI has been tracking these changes happening in the industry for some time. It endeavors to provide the opportunity to the Indian industry to remain on top of the changes that are seen to be happening around us. Today's session on future-ready flexible packaging precisely considers the need to quickly evaluate options in the direction of sustainability. The topics covered highlight potential solutions to meet the challenges of the immediate future. If you look at the trend and the recent technological advancement in packaging, most have been directed towards providing sustainable packaging solutions. A few years back, when we talked about future-ready packaging, we always talked about creating new functionality, new barrier properties, new shelf dispensation options. But today, largely, majority of the conferences on future-ready pack talks about sustainability. And PSDCCI also recognizes this and thought it proper to have this session as a focus point. Hence, today's topic have been selected to provide heads up to the Indian packaging industry on the readiness to accept and the defined course. The courses have been defined, the directions have been defined. Now we need to be ready to accept this defined course. The session also covers a very high range of topics, including the latest extrusion technology, MDOP as monopolymer material, bag making technology for monopolymer material, and recycling technology for multi-layer laminates. The government has described the directions, described the ways we have to opt for sustainable packaging. But is the extrusion process ready? Is the film making process ready? Is the bag making process ready to accept this challenge? This is something which will be discussed in abundance by the speakers. The speakers are chosen, who are chosen are experts in their respective areas. I wish you all a happy learning and an active participation. With this, I would now like to request Dr. Tanveer Alam to address the audience. Dr. Tanveer Alam, please. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jivraj Pillai. Very good afternoon, all of you. It is indeed a great pleasure to be here for the virtual International Global Summit on Flexible Packaging. All we are aware about the growth pattern of the packaging industry. And in spite of this pandemic, industry is doing good. What we can say today, the Indian packaging industry, as reported by Exim Bank recently, is more than $50.5 billion US, and sustaining and maintaining the growth is around 15-18%. This is a good thing. And definitely among the all segment of packaging material, plastic, especially the flexible packaging, packaging industry is doing well and significantly contributing all segments. We have especially the flexible packaging industry, due to its several advantages. It is being used all segment, especially food and pharmaceutical segment. Due to its functionality, I agree with the other speakers. We have done very good innovation in the field of barrierness, so that we enable to provide the required function shelf life to the especially food and other commodity. But now the sustainability become the buzzword, and I'm happy to learn that Indian flexible industry is doing very well, especially in sustainability. Several industries, including the UFlex, they have done a very good job, both in recyclability and innovation of sustainable monopolymer flexible material, which shows the good innovations and requirement of the industry. And especially India, recent study says that when we talk about the export, as per the Exim Bank report, export report says that India is doing more than $900 million export business, and 14% share is the especially the packaging industry, and among this 14%, 68% is the from flexible packaging industry, especially flexible intermediate bulk and packaging. We are exporting more than 18%. This shows that how we are not only due to this innovation and innovation, especially in sustainability, India is doing and become what we can say hub. And recent during we also come to know, and because we are somewhere helping to the packaging industry, this manufacturing unit, where we have evaluated, India is also one hub for the biodegradable polymeric material, and giving the solution not only in food, processed food product, even the agricultural commodity. India is exporting Holland for the flexible packaging solution of biodegradable material to the Holland, and Israel, even the Israel. So this shows that this potential with the innovative sustainability approach, India is become hub. And being Indian Institute, the packaging, what we are doing in the, I would like to share, being a policy making part, especially Indian Institute of Packaging is the part for the FSSAI and BIS regulation. I would like to share that during the recent 3 months, our meeting, we are also coming in solution of that, how the recyclable material will be part for this amendment of FSSAI, so that recyclable packaging material will be used for the even the food. I am very much confident in the new amendment which is coming in FSSAI. This is the good news for the all our packaging industry, especially packaging flexible packaging industry. Okay, that need to have some amendment, especially if you want to utilize and increase the recyclable material, even the food and beverages industry. This is one part I would like to share. I thought I would share how the things are moving at the government part, at regulatory part, so that our standard should be at par with the international regulation, because some of the industries internationally, they are using recyclable packaging material for food application, which is not permitted in right now in Indian context. So that amendment is also very soon we have a amendment which allow and permit to the flexible recyclable material for flexible packaging industry. That is one part. Another, being a packaging institute, we have started recently launched MS course in packaging technology, where one of the particular subject we have incorporated the sustainability and focusing on especially the flexible packaging industry. What I want to share that being a part of a government institution and academic institution in the country, our responsibility is also that how we can push the recent requirement of the industry, and how being the research institute we can incorporate the syllabus in syllabus in the course curriculum, so that our students, we have more than 35,000 we have more than 5,000 alumni are working, and every year we are having 2,200 500 students are joining to the new fold of the packaging and lead industry, so that our student is also well equipped to have a ready to use, what we can say, students are well equipped in the field of the sustainability and flexibility. And also we are going to have a specialized course keeping in mind of the requirement of the packaging engineers. So last year launched certified packaging engineers course, and focusing again, we have focused on sustainability. So these things I thought highlight what is the role of IIP, and so far what are the what we are doing, because we have three major activities: testing and certification, training and education, research and development. In terms of training education, already I have shared. Another important aspect is that we are talking about the biodegradability, biodegradable polymeric material. So far, only Ministry of Environment, they have permitted CFET to give the certification. Now we got Indian Institute of Packaging is also in the final process of getting the approval from Ministry of Environment. We have also created a testing facility for the biodegradability, and I'm happy to share that UFlex has also supported to establish infrastructure in this matter, so that what are the requirement, especially in biodegradability, that facility we have also created, and we also get the approval from the very soon already in from the Ministry of Environment. Third important is that recent times Indian Institute of Packaging, we have developed different prototypes, and I'm happy to share that we have developed 13 innovative packaging design prototype for different products, including food products, including handicraft and handloom items, and different and of course also other commodity products package design we have developed. Keeping in mind the primary factors we have considered is the sustainability. So with these words, my best wishes for 2 days International Summit on Flexible Packaging. It is really
Thank you.
timely organized this program. I hope the deliberation by during this 2 days International Summit will help to the packaging industry, and the outcome will take it forward for future.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you
Alam.
very
Thank you very much for your keynote address. Here, I would also request you, I think maybe already your students, must have been invited, but I also request you to please invite them if it is not invited today and tomorrow, because it will be good for them also to have the global speakers. They should listen to them and they will have a very good knowledge from these speakers. So I request you to please send the invitation.
Okay.
And with these words, I now invite our next speaker, Dr. Christoph Lewinsky. I just briefly inform that Dr. Christoph Letowski is the technical director in Riefenhauser Braunfilm in Germany. He studied mechanical engineering at the RWTH Aachen University, Germany. Afterwards, he joined the Institute of Plastic Processing in Aachen. He started as a scientific engineer and project manager in November 2000. He was head of the injection molding department from June 2005 to March 2008. In April 2008, he joined the former Kefel Extrusion, Worms, Germany, where he worked as an assistant to the management at Riefenhauser Braunfilm. He has been working in various positions, today as a senior product manager. So now I invite Dr. Christoph to speak on latest technology in the film extrusion. Dr. Christopher, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will now share my screen. I hope that is working, and I'd like to welcome all of you to my presentation on the latest technology. And yeah, I say good afternoon to this great audience. Well, many of the thoughts we heard already, I think, in the first two speeches clearly show the challenge of our industry. And yeah, if I should put it in one picture, if I try to put it in one picture, it is about closing this circle of produce, use, and recycle, which is possible in nowadays, sure, already for glass, paper, or say metal like aluminium, but for the plastics industry, it's nowadays our challenge, and it's a challenge for everybody in the industry. And in that sense, Reifenhauser did some work, especially for sure on the machine technology side, to close the circle. And in that sense, I would like to share you some innovations on film product solutions for the circular economy. And this is in specific all PE technologies or technology. This is film recipes, but also the machine technology to produce MDO PE film. And as a second highlight and a topic of my speech, I will focus on machine technology to process different kinds of recyclates, because one of the biggest challenges that we will face in the future, the challenge to produce recycled material, but the bad news is this will not always be very good, high class, high quality recyclate. So compared to virgin material, the challenge will be that the quality of your material which you put your machine will vary a little bit and will be low on a lower level than what you are used to produce if you are running in nowadays virgin material. But let's start with a view on monomaterial packaging, and more specific on the replacement of biaxial oriented PET film. This film is used nowadays in a very popular packaging, which is a stand-up pouch, which contains usually nowadays of the PE sealant film, an adhesive layer, usually glue, and a 12-micron bio-PET film. And well, the challenge is that a package like this cannot be recycled anymore due to the mix of PE and PET film. So in the last 2-3 years, everybody in that sector was focusing on replacing PET film. And well, how can we do that? Well, one way is to stretch PE film in machine direction. If it contains, say, the film itself, a 40-50% of HDPE, and I stretch it like 5.5 times, 6 times in machine direction, the nature of the film changes, and I create a film with properties which allow me to replace a PET 12-micron film by say 20, 23, 25 micron thick stretched film. And in this case is something which we realized with a customer of us, a pouch available in nowadays. It is food for dogs. It is available in the market in nowadays via Amazon, and we replaced the PET film by a 5-layer film made on our machine with our stretch unit, stretched at a ratio of 5.5 and a thickness of 23 microns. And well, extrusion was done at a gross output of 580 kg per hour, and net film width was 2.2 meters. So we were making 2 ups, 1.1 meter each. And this was a stretch tube, so no block film, it was a stretch tube. And well, after the extrusion, you take this film and go to your printing press, And what's important, these films can be run at reasonable machine speeds. This was about 450 meters per minute. So the speed which this customer is running his press, usually with PET film. So there was, we have a absolutely comparable productivity and output. And if we now look at the quality of the images, please see the images itself right now in the video. And in a few moments, we will see the reproducibility of printing. We will have a look after this image in a few seconds on the register. As I said, a 6-color job on an 8-color machine. Please see how good we meet the register with this place. So we have a really high quality printing on this machine. Now we travel down from the printing station number 8 to the very beginning of the line, and we see how smooth and how good this film is running through the machine. The roll itself was with a 1.1 meter. The printing job was much smaller. In this case, was just 890 millimeters. And just to give you an idea of the quality of the film, you see very flat, very smooth, leaving the unwind station and entering the first press of this 8-color boxed printing machine. Okay, so this was rotogravure printing, and we took that film to a not mechanical lamination machine. This was nothing special. You can take the film, squeeze it in standard production. This is what we made at that customer at the converting. We run the lamination machine at max speed of 300 meters per minute, made the laminated film and took it to the pouch making. And well, as you see, this is a standard pouch making machine, nothing special with this film. With this laminate, no changes were needed to the machine technology itself. Some slight changes at the temperatures of the sealing were necessary compared to a laminate made of PET and PE, but no changes to the machine technology. And this customer is running PET PE film usually at a rate of 58, 59 pouches per minute, which we perfectly met with 57 pouches per minute. So again, same productivity level here with a pouch making, with a MDO PE film laminate. So here we see the finished, the final pouches, and yeah, 57, 58 pouches per minute as output. Well, if we now look at this MDO PE films coming from a stretch unit, for sure I can talk for our stretch unit. We will have a slight view on it a little bit later. We have to recognize and accept and understand, if we compare it to biaxial oriented polyethylene, that in terms of the mechanical properties, say the E modulus in machine direction and in cross machine direction, so transverse TD, is for sure different from which we know from PET. So this is important to understand, that we do not exactly meet these values of PET. This is true for both, for the mechanical properties, but as well as for the haze value. This is the range which we see here. See, for instance, for the E modules between 1,300 and 2,100 for different recipes, which we realized so far in different projects with customers on our machines. And the same is true for haze and gloss. So in some way, we have to understand and accept that we have a little bit to compromise when we want to take out the PET film and replace it by a PE film. But the important news is that these properties which the MDO PE film gives us is good enough to realize and meet the properties which we need for a stand-up pouch, like we see here, left-hand side in this picture. And the third property, which is important, so it's about E-modulus, it is about optical properties, and the third one is the shrinkage behavior of the film. And as a simple rule, the lower the shrinkage behavior, the better the sealing and the quality of the sealing. And for sure, the target is to have a seal area without any wrinkles, any warpage. And these are the three basic properties which have to be reached and take into account. And well, with the recipes and the machine technology we provide, we are able to meet them. And well, a short view on Reifenhauser's stretch unit, which is, if we compare it to other stretch units and other solutions, somehow special due to the special position of this stretch unit in the blown film line. Because the special one of such an ultra stretch unit is that we integrate the stretch unit into the hull of the blown film line, rather than putting it after the turner bar system somehow inline as an MBO into the machine. And why do we do this? Because, well, if you look at stretching, it's basically very simple. There are three simple rules which are really based now in over 20 years of experience with this process. The warmer the film before it enters the MDO, the less energy is required to do the stretching, because if we do stretching, we need a temperature of, say, 100 degrees C. And for sure, as the warmer the film itself is, if it enters the stretching unit, the less energy is needed to reheat it up again. The less crystalline the film, the easier is the stretching. And well, the more time I have for annealing, the better the shrinkage behavior. And remember, I said this is one of the important three properties of such a film, a low shrinkage potential of such a film, in order to realize really nice sealing, nice seals in such a pouch. And now, if we put a stretch unit, if we integrate it into a haul-off, like we do with our ultra stretch MDO at Reifenhauser, we meet more or less these three rules. We fulfill them because, well, if we look at a blown film line, we have the extruder, we have the bubble, and we collapse the bubble to a double lay flat web, correct? Then, well, the first position and the best position to fulfill these rules of stretching is integrating it into the haul-off, and that's exactly what we do. The ultra stretch is right here, so we have arrangement, a full range MDO of 12 rollers within the haul-off, doing the stretching, and this for sure gives advantages compared to a position somewhere here in the path before the wind room. If we compare it now, say we have the MDO here and ask how many times am I earlier at the MDO? If I compare this position to that, if we look at the speeds we run the line, it's about 0.5 times earlier. And this results in a warmer film, so less energy is needed if I stretch my film in the Orloff compared to a position here, say on the first level or even on the floor. And for sure, the film, the crystallinity is lower, and thus stretching is more stable. And well, the same is true for annealing and annealing time, because if I put my MDO and do the stretching on top of the line in the Orloff, I have more time for the annealing, because the film has to travel down from the top of the line down to the winder, compared to having the MDO, say, on the first level directly on top of the winder. And again, it's like 2 times more. And this is one of the really advantages of the position on top of the line, that the shrinkage potential of the films is lower, and thus we have the opportunity for better sealing and a better appearance of the sealings in our pouches later on when we look at the downstream. The nice thing is this is something which is unique at Reifenhauser. It is worldwide patented in Europe as well as in India. Well, this was an example for recyclable packaging. So making packages recyclable by mono-material solutions, avoiding multi-material solutions. However, this is only if we come back to our circle half the way, which a machine producer can do. So we can provide to the market technologies which allow you to produce recyclable films, recyclable recipes, recyclable product solutions. But once we have these recycled packages, we have to make granules out of them and feed them back to the extruder. And as I said in the beginning, the challenge of this recycled materials is that it's not at the same quality level as virgin material. And another aspect is if you think about the scrap in our days from making the film, making laminates and printing film, making laminates, and think of the scrap which occurred during this kind of processes in the process chain. We for sure have to find solutions to produce both, say the PCR, the post-consumer recyclates, these pouches, and on the other end, we have to find solutions for the scrap which occurs just during the process chain. And well, in that sense, I would like to present you a solution for the extrusion of, say, in a 3-layer scenario, allowing to maximize your content of recycled material, of reclaimed material in the extruder, with the target that I have in a ABC, in a 3-layer scenario, in a B layer, 100% of recycled material, in 100% of PCR material. Because if I do so, and I have a layer ratio of 20, 60, 20, I can rise up my content of recycled material to like 60% in the total film. Well, and how do we do this? Well, we don't use a single screw extruder, we use a twin screw extruder. Why that? Well, it allows us to apply an extra degassing of the film, and it gives us good mixing properties, and both is needed if you want to process recyclates PCR of low quality, which is a mix of different kind of origins, or we can even go one step farther. When we will see that with the examples, you can process scrap for your production by such a concept of either printed film or laminates, and even mix of different polymers is possible. So this was an example where we have a customer in Germany. He bought such a line, such a concept, a 3-layer line with a twin screw extruder in the center. This customer is doing sticky surface protection film. And during this chain, this production chain, you see it's not only stickered, it's colored blue and black. A lot of scrap in the production chain occurs. In our days, he could not make any use of it in the past. He was not able to collect the scrap and make granules out of it and put it to his single screw lines, making film again out of the scrap. But with the twin screw concept, he was able to do so. So in this case, we had a 3-layer film with 100% of LDP. LD is the basis sticky film in B, and in A and C it was high quality PRR granules from the production, but non-printed film and non-sticky film. So in this scenario, we have really a film at an output of 400 kg per hour, 100% recycled material. In A and C, standard extruders for high quality recyclates, but in the middle extruder, a twin screw extruder for sticky printed film, which is usually not processable on a single screw, but we are able to do it on a twin screw. Other example, this is an example of barrier film. If you look at the total structure, it was like 70% of polyethylene, 25 PA, and 5% of EVH. This film, again, scrap from the production. Usually, you can process this film if you had high amount of compatibilizer. And high is 10% and more. And with the twin screw technology, we were able to process those scrap with reducing the amount of compatibilizer to a level of 2%. And again, 300% of output, 1:1 as a layer ratio. And again, we made tube film. You can also make out of these scraps, which were pellet bags and PET food bags containing PET, PET film. We were able to reuse and make again film out of it. And last but not least, this is the most interesting one, because the 3 examples before were like PER film, also post-industrial scrap out of the production. These granules is scrap out from a PCR recycled material stream. In Germany, there's a system organized by a company called Dual System Germany, which collects the scrap from the single households, and they collect it, they sort it, they wash it, and they make granules out of it. These granules, which you can see here, are exactly such a PE fraction, and each granule is a mix of different kind of polymers, PE type polymers, from any kind of packaging you can imagine. It could be collation shrink from 6 packs, could be some other packaging, could be bags, whatever. And with a single screw extruder, you could process it maybe at a level of 20% in the extruder. Again, with the twin screw, we were able to process, in this case, these granules at a level of 100%. And this was a scenario like layer ratio 1:1, so really huge amounts of post-consumer scrap in the center at a level of 400 kg per hour. And we were able to reduce the film thickness to a level of 35 microns. So quite thin film. And well, now how is this possible? Just to give you an idea of such a line, I would like to show you a short video because basically the idea of the twin screw has two opportunities. We can for sure produce recycled material, but the nice thing with a twin screw is that we do not necessarily have to feed granules to the extruder. We can even skip the step of making granules and feeding fluff film to the extruder. Both is possible, whereas I would say if you go with PCR, you would usually go via granules, but skipping making granules is, from my point of view, of special interest if you have in your production chain significant amounts of scrap, which you cannot use today, like the guy with the sticky surface protection film, because then you can refeed rejected rolls or that kind of scrap, and you feed to the extruder, to the twin screw extruder, the fluff, which is cutted in a mill to small. So fluff is small plastic small size plastics film. Yeah, and then you feed it to the twin screw, and well, the rest is well known to everybody who's within the blown film industry. Nothing special with such a line. Okay, just to give you a better idea. And to highlight the special things with the twin screw, one slide regarding that. So we can feed both. We can feed pellets, which I would assume is the way for PCR material. The nice thing, again, is that you can really run low quality PCR granules with this concept at a level at 100%, which is not possible on the single screw due to the fact that usually these granules contain contaminations, still contain contaminations, although they were somehow reworked, and these contaminations, short chains, maybe contaminations from the printing process, etc., can be taken out by a degassing unit, which is beside the better mixing, the performance feature of such a twin screw. And yeah, as I said, if you have in-house production scrap, there is with a twin screw no need to make pellets anymore. You can feed these scrap, cut it down to fluff, and feed the fluff directly to the twin screw extruder. Well, and if somebody would say, hey, we are interested, we like it, we love it, we should get in touch. And we work in a way that, like, we would ask you to send the material, join us in the lab, and yeah, convince you to do so. So this was a really advanced technology for processing granules and even low quality granules production scrap. But say for some more high quality kind of PCR materials, we found solutions on the extrusion side as well. So we changed a little bit our extruder or screw design, and allowing to run high quality granules on a twin screw, on a single screw extruder with a slightly longer screw, low quality Rezoglatt twin screw. And we have solutions for the rest of the equipment as well, for die heads, special coating, because in the future we will see, if we produce granules, you will see recycled materials that you have to clean it more often. And in order to come off of the sequence of cleaning, to reduce it a little bit, we have like special coatings for die heads. You will see if you process it, I'm sure you know, if you process it, you will see the paraffin on the equipment. This is true for both, for the IBC as well as the airing. So we provide special coatings for that, again, for longer uptime of the machine. So, what we do for the, say, paraffin, which you will see at the gas, we can suck it away. We have the possibility to suck it away at the die head itself, on top of the die head, but also on the calibration basket. So there are solutions for both, for multi-material, getting rid of multi-material towards mono-material packaging, for the product, for the film product. We have recipes, we have the machine technology, and on the other hand, we have technology for processing recycled material. These are my two messages, and I would be happy if that would be your takeaway for today from my presentation. And we're more than happy to start the discussion with you, knowing about your needs and providing you, helping you with our solutions. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Christoph. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we have little bit time schedule we have to follow, but it is very good presentation, and we'll definitely share your contact detail also to all the participants to get in touch with you also. Your we can share your email and phone number so that it is easier for them to reach to you. Huh? Okay. Now I request Dr. Meenu, just a minute. Let me just. Dr. Meenu Sachdeva, she is Assistant General Manager in the Ultimate Packaging Limited. She is a doctorate in polymer chemistry with 21 years experience in research and development, quality assurance, and technical support. Throughout her career, she has been involved in various design and development projects and had successfully developed new products that surpass quality norms and customer expectations. She is a lead auditor for QMS and FSSC and had been trained on Six Sigma. I request Dr. Meenu Sachdeva to please give her presentation, please. If you want to share your presentation, you can share also.
Thank you, Mr. Singhlai, for the nice introduction. Let me share the screen first. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
So first of all, I would like to thank organizer PhD CCI for giving me this opportunity to speak on one of my favorite topics, that is sustainable flexible packaging. So, and warm welcome to all the participants who are here to attend, and warm welcome to all the audiences who are here to attend. So my topic is sustainable monomaterial high barrier laminate for food packaging. I would be covering role of packaging in our life, what is advantages of flexible packaging, though it is covered by chairman as well as co-chairman, but I would like to stress upon some more things. And the need for sustainable options, what is meant by sustainability, and monomaterial high barrier laminate. So just look into a day in our life. We start morning with a cup of tea, then along with some biscuits. Then for the intermittent hunger, we need some chips, and then yummy pizza for lunch, then ordering groceries for dinner. Can we imagine our life without packaging, without flexible packaging, or without packaging? It's not possible. It has become an inherent part of our life. So why flexible packaging? The sustainability, since we are talking about sustainability benefits of flexible packaging, since it is lightweight, so lot of source reduction. That means we save on material as well as energy. Because of transportation, it occupies less space in any transportation as compared to rigid packaging. So we get the benefit of cost reduction here also. Then it extends the shelf life of the material. Since it protects the material, it has got barrier layers in it, so it protects the material, and it has lowest product to package ratio as compared to other counterparts. It is eco-friendly, so that means it leaves less material to landfills as compared to rigid and other kind of packaging, and it is cost efficient. So before going further, I would like to stress upon, we always think about plastic waste as a problem to environment, or it is causing greenhouse gas emission. But it is amazing to know that food emits more greenhouse gases as compared to packaging. And it is being wasted. Not at the time of how this spoil reduce can be, can reduce the food wastages. If we look at the flexible packaging, which extends the shelf life, for beans, if we have packaging from 7 days, we can extend the shelf life to 19 days. For grapes, from 7 days, we can extend the shelf life to 70 days. For broccoli, it is from 6 days to 20 days. And for meat, it is from 3 days to 20 days. And for cheese, 190 days shelf life can be increased to 280 days using flexible packaging. So shelf life increase means low food wastages. So food waste decreases. Now, what's the concern for sustainability? As far as sustainability is concerned, what is the concern? Packaging waste is increasing day by day. And packaging waste is out of 9 billion tons plastic produced till now, still 5 billion tons is in landfills. Increase in plastic production. In 1950, it was started with 2 million tons production, which has now come up to 368 million tons in 2019. It is polluting water bodies. Approximately 10 million tons enters ocean every year. We have concern for the environment. We have poor collection and poor recycling. So need to work on these. So that like flexible packaging is an example of reducing reducing the resource and improving the material efficiency. So we should enhance the material efficiency, preserve depleting sources. Right now we are dependent too much on the fossil fuels, or we can have, if we can have renewable resources of plastic. So that could be another way of working towards sustainable future. Then to have circular economy. That means everything should be either reused, recycled, or so designing flexible packaging for circular economy means one life is not enough for plastic. We should reuse it, recycle it, or we should reduce it. So PE-based monomaterial laminate, it is earlier the laminate is multi-layer, which is having different layers, but now it is again having different layers, but of the same polymer. So now question arises, why to go for polythene-based monolaminate? Because polythene is the only material, only polymer which is available in different densities. So a density gradient can be created from top to sealant. It has high sealing performance as compared to other counterparts. It is easy, it can be processed easily. It has different processing technique which can be used. We can blow it, we can cast, process it through casting also. So different polymeric processing technique can be used for polyethylene. Now, if I want to replace a multi-material laminate, what is the strategy? As Dr. Christopher has also shared that this material is the printable substrate is BOPET or BOPA or BOPP right now. Then we have printing inks, adhesives, and some barrier material, and then again a sealing material, which is normally PE. Now I have to replace this printing substrate with polyethylene-based material, and both this barrier material, that is aluminum foil or metallized film, have to be replaced with a high barrier, low temperature sealant polyethylene base. And we will have density gradient in this laminate. That means the upper layer will have high density, the printable layer will have high density, and the lower layer, the sealant layer, will have low density, so that we can seal it on the conventional sealer. Now, for challenge for me is if I want to use PES printable substrate, it has high haze value. So for printing substrate, it should look aesthetically good. So it has high haze, so it's a challenge for us. Then it has got low gloss, then low density. PET has very high density, it is around 1.4. The polyethylene has maximum we can go to 0.96 right now with the new technologies. It has got very low stiffness as compared to PET. Stiffness is one of the criteria for printing. So we need a high stiffness material, and it has got low temperature resistance when we do pouching. So we need high temperature resistance so that it can work on the same machine on which PET laminate is being pouched. So machine direction orientation is a solution to overcome all these inherent challenges of polyethylene. It improves the stiffness, it gives it high tensile strength, it gives it high modulus, and improved optics. It also improves dead fold of the polyethylene film. So in machine direction oriented films, we can have block structures, which is 25 micron normally, and we can have unblocked structures which can be done with 20 micron as well as 25 micron thickness. Stretch ratio is typically from 1:5 to 1:6. The film which we produced, these are the properties of MDOP film. If we talk of haze, we could have this is blown P, normal blown P, and this is blocked MDOP and unblocked MDOP. This is PET BOPP. If we compare to blown film, we could have significant reduction in haze, which was our target, and it is almost comparable to BOPP and BOPET and BOPE also. As far as gloss is concerned, we could achieve from 75 gloss, which is in PE film, we could achieve 105 to 110, which is very close to PET, and it is almost similar to BOPE and BOPP. Modulus, we could achieve modulus in comparison to BOPP. Yes, it is slightly less than PET, but it could be printed on a high-speed machine, which we have tried at the speed of 350 meters per minute. From blown film, blown PE, 3 times more modulus we got. Tensile strength, in case of tensile strength, we could achieve tensile strength slightly better than BOPP, but slightly less than PET, but a tremendous increase in the tensile strength of the film as compared to blown PE. Tensile strength, if we see the tensile strength of the normal PE film, it is 450, and we could achieve 4.82 in the TD direction and 21 in the MD direction. That shows that we have done enough stretching. I mean, we could stretch it to an optimal level. Now, this was for polyethylene as a top layer, the printable layer. For sealant layer, the challenges were to have high barrier. because polyethylene inherently has high OTR, that means low oxygen barrier, and it has got, we have to have one sealant so that it can seal at a lower temperature. Since upper film is also polyethylene, so we have to have a sealant which can seal at a lower temperature. That means low seal initiation temperature film material have to be used in the inner layer. So we incorporated one barrier layer into the laminate, into the film, multi-layer film, the PE film, and one low sealant layer into the PE film, so that it can be used in a mono-layer, mono-material laminate. So the features of our laminate is we could achieve high moisture resistance in the range of 1.5 gram per meter square per day, high gas barrier, less than 1 cc per meter square per day. We could have top surface high heat resistance, which can sustain 160-degree sealer temperature, low temperature sealant, which can seal at seal initiation temperature is 95 degrees Celsius. Superior optics, that means high gloss and low haze, low shrinkage. That is a problem which Dr. Christophe has also discussed. Shrinkage is shrinkage at the time of pouching is a major problem in case of MDOP. But we could have low shrinkage. We could sustain low shrinkage in the MDOP. It complies with all the food grade guidelines of FDA, EU, as well as Indian standard. And our laminate follows CFlex guidelines, which says that it should be 5% should be external material, should be 5% material should be of some other polymer, and rest of the material should be PE itself. So we could follow that. What are the possibilities? We can have stand-up pouches, we can have spout pouches, side gusset pouches, we can have add-ons, pouching accessories like zipper, slider, T-punch, or handles. We can have barrier, customized barrier for the films. It depends, since we are incorporating a different material for barrier, we can have, as per customer requirement, we can have barrier. Possibility of lap sealing. We have also designed one recipe for lap sealing of pouches. And we have two variants. One is high temperature resistance and another one is medium temperature resistance as per customer requirement. And we have optimized seal windows. That means sealant temperature can also be, can vary depending upon the customer requirement. That's all from my side. I'm open to any questions if you have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Meenu. Thank you so much. Now we move on to our next speaker, Mr. Thorsten Horner. He is the CEO of Sapratec, Germany. He will be talking on advanced mechanical recycling of multi-material flexible packaging films. Mr. Horner has been working in the recycling innovation sector since 2013. He was also a management consulting partner with Accenture working in Germany and Southeast Asia. Mr. Horner holds an MBA degree with the Kellogg School of Management and an engineering degree with the University of Stuttgart. Sapratec offers innovative recycling technology for multi-layer composite packaging materials. The company is currently building its first commercial recycling plant for alufoil composite packaging and liquid carton packaging waste in Eastern Germany. Mr. Horsten, please. Mr. Horning, please.
Thank you very much. Let me share my slides. Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity to present today on our developments in the recycling of multi-material flexible packaging films. I'm Thorsten Hornung. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Sapratec, and I'm really glad to speak to you today. So Sapratec is a recycling technology company, and we're focused on the recycling of multi-layer materials from polymers, metals, paper, and glass. And our major area of activity is in the area of the recycling of metal barrier flexible packaging materials. At this stage, we're a startup company based in the northern part of Germany with 15 staff, mainly in R&D and in engineering. We're on track to build our first industrial recycling plant for the recycling of aluminum foil polymer composites, as well as beverage carton reject, and we expect to run that plant up in 2023. We're working together quite significantly with Henkel as a strategic cooperation partner, as well as an investor in Saperatech. In the picture here on the slide, you see our development area here in Bielefeld. This is our pilot plant where we have been testing all the technology that I'm presenting to you today. Yeah, what are we doing? Delamination is the magic in our solution. So whenever we have multi-material films based on a polymer as well as on a metal like an alufoil or a metallized film, or even an aluminum oxide or a silicium oxide, or if we have glass or paper combined with polymer, we have separation fluids that we apply in an extended hot wash process where we treat the material for several hours, wash it with our separation liquids, and our separation liquids enter the multi-layer structure and debond the various layers from each other so that we can apply more traditional sorting technology in order to recover clean material streams. Our solution has been optimized for minimized environmental impact and for food compatibility. So all the chemicals we're using here are water-based, and all the chemicals have a food contact rating. So there's 4 major types of packaging that we're currently focusing on. Here on the upper left side, you see traditional aluminum foil barrier pouches. So very typically outer layer printed PET film, then an aluminum foil and a sealing layer, for instance, from polyethylene, but possibly also from polypropylene. So quite typically applied for coffee packs, for cat food, for baby food and the likes, where a high barrier functionality is required. Similar to that, also structures where instead of an aluminum foil, you have a vacuumized aluminum film. A second major area of ours is the beverage carton or liquid carton. Like here, where quite typically you also have an aluminum foil barrier layer inside of a carton board. Today, the recycling of these liquid cartons is quite often limited to recovering the paper fiber from the package, while the inner polymer and aluminum foil is actually thermally used and is not recycled. Tube material is also an important topic for us, so cosmetics, where there's also quite often aluminum foil applied. And a fourth topic that we have in our focus are pharma blister packs, where quite often we see PVC used along with an aluminum foil, and that's also covered by our solution. So how does it work in an industrial plant? Our first plant will actually focus on 2 types of packaging in the same process: aluminum foil laminates, as well as reject from defibering beverage carton. In Germany, the beverage carton is currently collected with the packaging waste and is sorted into separate fractions in paper mills, where the carton board is largely recovered, and the remaining polyethylene aluminum film, where there's still quite a bit of fiber connected to it, is today actually sent to incineration. Those are 2 types of feedstock that we will accept in our first commercial plant. And there's first a pre-treatment line, quite traditional technology, where the material is where contaminants like metals stones and the likes are removed, where we do some additional defibering of the beverage carton in order to minimize the fiber content that enters our process, and we cut the film into smaller particles. Then the material enters our main core process, our delamination process. There's large 30 cubic meter vessels where we add our separation fluid to the material. We treat the material for several hours at a certain temperature in those vessels, and then the separation liquid is actually recirculated. So we recover most of the separation liquid, more than 98%. We clean it up again and we reuse it in the process. The solid material then is extracted from the delamination process and enters a wash process where we remove residual chemicals from the materials. At this stage, we still have a mix of polymer film and aluminum foil. So we then enter a fractionation, a sorting step, where we apply various techniques for sorting the materials into high density plastics, low density plastics, and metals. And then there's a refinement process, for instance, for the polyethylene or polypropylene. That's our main focus and most of the output of the plant. We go through a full mechanical recycling line with further melt filtration and degassing of the material in order to produce high quality film grade recycled polyolefins. And the aluminium is also recovered in the process. The aluminium is protected against oxidation so that we can recover aluminium at a quality that is directly suitable for recycling applications. So the technology in action here, you see the two examples, the pouch packaging with aluminum foil laminates and the beverage carton. The beverage carton here is already defibered, but there's quite typically still 10 to 20% of fiber locked in with the polyethylene in the beverage carton in a pouch. Both of these materials enter our process, and after the process we get clean polyethylene flakes in both cases. We get the high density plastics as a separate fraction here, which at this stage is still containing the ink. However, we're also working on additional de-inking of this fraction. And then there's the aluminium foil, which is recovered as flakes. And any residual fiber that still enters the delamination process is recovered as a filter cake. After mechanical recycling, we have the granulated polyethylene and the aluminium. And in terms of the products, in our first plant, which we're about to build in Eastern Germany, we get two qualities. We produce both post-production waste, and from post-production waste, we obviously get a very high grade of LDPE as we start out. And from the post-consumer waste, we still get a film grade material. The granulate the pellets are still slightly colored. However, you can blow 20 micron film with good mechanical properties and with still a reasonable transparency to the material. The aluminium is sent off to aluminium recyclers, either in briquetted form or in pelletized form. Quite interesting, the pelletized material, since the remaining contaminants are very low, can directly be milled, for instance, into pigments and achieves quite good market prices. Yeah, the plant is going to be built a little bit north of Leipzig. We're already in construction right now, started in December last year with the construction project. The plant will handle about 30,000 tons of waste input by 2024 and initially produce LDPE as well as recycled aluminium. We're well on track with our schedule. We're going to run the construction of the plant throughout 2022, and we will then enter the commissioning of the plant. It's the first of its kind, so we allow somewhat more time for commissioning this plant until the middle of 2023, and then we will ramp up the plant until 2024. And once this first demonstration plant has been built, we are looking for further projects both in Europe and overseas in order to leverage this technology to provide more sustainable recycling solutions for multi-material composite flexible packaging. Yeah, some of the major advantages of the technology. First of all, we keep the composite materials, metallized composite materials, away from incineration. We achieve very high material recycling rates, including both the aluminium as well as the polyethylene, in most cases above 90% of material recycling ratio. We achieve a very good greenhouse gas footprint, both compared to incineration as well as to virgin output materials. We see a CO2 footprint, greenhouse gas footprint, less than 50% of the benchmark. We move into high quality outputs, so we are not doing a downcycling where the polymers end up in a car bench or in a park bench. We actually reproduce film grade materials that can replace virgin material in original applications, and our chemical process is optimized for low environmental footprint. So the wastewater from our plant doesn't require extensive treatment before it can actually enter municipal water management. And with this solution, while we see that in many applications, composite flexible packaging can be replaced with monomaterials, there are applications where aluminium foil is still the best performing and most absolute barrier material. We expect that in many existing applications, the aluminium foil may still be required. We basically enable the recycling of these materials in the future and thereby contribute to a sustainable circular economy for these materials. Yeah, thank you very much for your attention today. If there's still time, I'm happy to take some questions.
Thank you, Mr. Thorson. Thank you so much. Now we move on to our next speaker, Mr. Toshio Yamaguchi. And I also thank Totani Group for also be the associate partner of this summit. Mr. Toshio Yamaguchi is Senior Counselor at Sales and Marketing Department at Totani Corporation, Japan. Engaged in the flexible packaging business since 1989, starting at Japanese trading company in Düsseldorf, Germany, mainly for the sales of Totani pouch making machine in Europe. Returned to Japan in '94 and engaged the sales of pre-made pouch filling and sealing equipment to in New Jersey, USA from 2002 onwards till 2006. In May 2006, joined Totani Corporation, Kyoto, Japan. In 2009, worked in establishing Totani Europe, covering EMEA, and appointed as the first CEO of the Totani Europe in Düsseldorf, Germany. Became a person in charge for Indian market in Totani Corporation, Japan since 2011, with the partner in India, Riefenhauser India Private Limited. Nearly 40 times he is visited India. He is very frequent to visit to India. He is living in Kyoto, Japan with his wife and son. His son is the university student pursuing a PhD in paleoecology. Mr. Toshio Yamaguchi, please, over to you. Unmute, sir. Kindly unmute, sir.
Hi, hello, everybody. Do you
Yes,
hear
sir.
me?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, good. Yeah, this is Toshio Yamaguchi of Totani Corporation Japan. Call me Tosh. First of all, on behalf of Totani Corporation, I'd like to express our sincere gratitude to Ministry of Micro, Small, Medium Enterprises and the PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry for giving us the opportunity to introduce ourselves and our pouch making machinery. I've been engaged for flexible packaging since 1989 for more than 30 years and visited India almost 40 times. If there were no COVID-19, it would have counted as nearly 50 times. Thanks to brave and entrepreneur spirit customers in India to buy Totani pouch machines with big advance payment, and also our partner, Meta Family, and their staff of Reifenhauser India Marketing Private Limited, I've learned a lot about your culture, business, importance of human relationships, democracy with diversity, and many things. You recently throw up many top business people in GAFA and large IT companies. I believe because of you are the creator of zero concept in background and your openness of diversity with necessity of multilingual skills. Especially and practically, I admire your jugaad, which cannot be explained in English just as innovation nor ingenuity. Since I've known the superior of jugaad, I've been saying and emphasizing to our staff, above all, machine designers and upper managers, how important jugaad is. And we should follow it so as to create new technology and effective system in limited time and resources like you do. Now, let's get started. The presentation takes just about 10 to 15 minutes, okay? Regarding our pouch machine and the current trend on flexible packaging, mono-material pouch demand. Today's agenda is introduction of ourselves, Totani, trend for green initiative, and pouch making machine for PE and PE, polyethylene, PP and PP, polypropylene, monomaterial. Today, the history of Totani. 1952, the company was founded in Kyoto, Japan by Izumi Totani as a manufacturer of dry seaweed cutting machine. The customer, seaweed maker, asked us to develop not only cutting machine, but also the packaging machine for seaweed. And then we studied more about cellophane and plastics for packaging. We launched the first pouch machine in 1956. The big success of retail foods packaging of named Bon Curry, I feel the relationship with India too, was sensationally happened in 1968, 12 years later than our first pouch machine. Because of that, we were able to build a leading position in Japan as a retort pouch making machine manufacturer. Actually, retort package was invented by NASA, National Aeronautics and Space Administration in the US as space food packaging. But FDA, Food and Drug Administration, took much time to permit it to use for food packaging. In the meantime, Japanese Ministry of Health and Welfare permitted it earlier, and curry spice is matched to overcome the degradation of taste by heat sterilization. The retort food packaging came to very popular in Japan since then. You know, the 40% of retort food in Japan is still dominated by curry sauce. You and your original food have a big power in Japan too. We started export business 1973, Asian country first, but mainly now North America, Europe, and China. In 2004, we established the first overseas sales and service company, Totani America Incorporated, in Wisconsin, Green Bay. And 1 year later, established pouch machine manufacturing company in Dalian, China, with 100% share owned by Totani. And then in 2009, established Totani Europe in Düsseldorf, Germany. I dedicated for it there and became the first managing director then. In 2011, we established Totani Asia Pacific in Singapore. Now we have 440 employees worldwide. The number of machine delivery in last year was 254, holding the patent over 215 and patent pending more than 50 now. Here, our worldwide locations. We also have the best 3 agents, which are not mentioned here. One is CS Tech in Korea, Nantai Trading in Taiwan, and the last, but not least, Leifenhauser India Marketing Private Limited here, who must have the key to open our future. Normally, we explain 3 points on flexible packaging trends, such as quick changeover, mainly driven by digital printing, such as stock keeping unit is now 500 to 5,000 pouches. Then box pouch growth, especially in North America, due to standing or laying flat with printable faces for eye-catching. But here, I talk about only sustainable films and how to convert them to pouch. Sustainable films, already you all know, demands from consumers and consumer packaged goods brand owners. Green Initiative, using PE and PE, polyethylene, or PP and PP, polypropylene, monomaterial, which very difficult to convert into pouch because of its character. Extensible, heat sensible, a kind of nightmare for us. We, however, have solutions to handle such difficult films on our standard models, such as BH series for small format pouches. Bottom materials is separate with multiple production lanes, 1 to 4 apps, max 2 app with zipper though. Actually, we achieved 300 cycles per minute for retold pet foods package with 4 app, more than 1,000 pouches per minute in average production. SG series here, box pouch machine. We have the patent for forming process. The pouch is formed from 2 waves. The side gussets are separate. I don't put here the most popular model in North America, which is CT series for single lane production formed from single wave and so plowed or self bottom gusset. Anyway, all these models can have the effective proprietary method for handling repeat variation and tension control. Thanks to Dow Chemical Singapore, here we can show you the video on BHD series machine with a special solution to convert PE and PE monofilm for making sustainable pouch. The machine has been operating in Dow Chemicals Pack Studio, Singapore. Please see their YouTube design and test sustainable packaging at Dow's Pack Studio, Singapore. For our machine's part video, here we go. Point to handle more monowave films. Such difficult. How to reduce heat effects, how to control the web tension, and how to manage the repeat variation. We have these know-hows and large experiences. For further details, please contact us and or Lifehouser India Marketing if you have any questions and projects. When you think a sustainable pouch, think Totani, think green. Thank you very much for meeting me and watching the presentation today. See you at your office soon. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Tosio. Thank you very much. Very excellently explained, and I believe that some of the companies will definitely get in touch with you or maybe your marketing agent in India. Thank you so much. With this, now it's time to start the panel discussion. The deliverables from the brand owner's perspectives. So here I introduce that we have moderator Mr. Deepak Manchanda, and over the panelist includes Mr. Varun Banerjee. He is head of packaging from Nestle South Asia. Ms. Himansi Mahajan, she is head of packaging development and research and development from Mother Dairy Fruit and Vegetables. Mr. Sanjay Gupta, his vice president packaging from DS Group. Mr. Amya Pradhan, he is the category head packaging, Dabur India Limited. And Mr. Jikul Kishore Prohit, he is co-founder of Packfora LLP. With this, I request Mr. Deepak Manjanda to please take over from here to start the panel discussion.
Thank you, Rakesh ji. Good afternoon to all the participants here. Good afternoon and welcome to all my panelists. Thank you to PhD Chamber and MSME and to Tani for giving us this platform. We will be doing the panel discussion on the subject of deliverables from brand owners' perspective. As we all know, the flexible packaging as well as semi-rigid packaging have had a very resilient and innovative journey of development to this day. This kind of packaging was the direct result of the rapid technology development of plastic materials. They helped in many ways to make packaged products accessible to a wider consumer spread and economic strata. They helped to reduce the weight of packaged product loads, thereby reducing freight capacity and fuel needs. By their introduction, the modern consumer became empowered to carry the product around more easily and enjoy the convenience on-the-go consumption. Constantly improving print and decoration capability made flexible packaging a platform for strong brand identification and marketing communication. The introduction of multi-layer barrier laminates met the needs of packaging sensitive products with extended shelf life. All these and many, many more were challenges offered by brand owners to the flexible packaging industry. It is commendable that the challenges were faced and solutions were progressively found to keep the industry and technology at the forefront of the demand curve in packaging. Today, the flexible packaging industry can proudly claim that it has extended the reach of packaged products to the remotest parts of the country with the help of flexible packaging. However, despite all this, the flexible packaging industry finds itself facing new challenges. Many of these challenges have risen out of the need for more oversight on pollution control and environmental protection. Flexible packaging in many ways, despite all the good it has achieved, has begun to be seen as somewhat as an evil, though a necessary evil. Under these conditions, brand owners have begun to look around afresh and demand fresh solutions from the industry. Sustainability, recyclability, extended producer responsibility, and even circular economy are among the many new buzzwords that have entered the flexible packaging industry's vocabulary. So I feel privileged today to be in the midst of some very top representatives of brand owners to be able to discuss these issues as they are being tackled on the ground. And I'd like to thank my panelists for being here so that we can have a conversation on the subject of deliverables from a brand owner's perspective. We do continue to see some sort of developments that are happening from the supplier side, but what are our perspectives we need to? So in order to take this discussion forward, I feel that we need to talk in terms of two segments. One is challenges facing packaging, the flexible packaging industry, which is with regard to EPR, recycling, safety, and shelf life. And then we should talk about, after that, solutions and approaches needed from converters, R&D technology, community lawmakers, and consumers. So based on this, we will have 15 minutes discussion on challenges facing packaging, flexible packaging and solutions. And after that, 15 minutes, solutions and approaches. So with this, I'd like to kick off the discussion. I'd request my panelists, when they are going to respond to the question, may kindly introduce themselves briefly so that we can save time in terms of a long and formal introduction. Although everyone here, I'm sure, is already well known to the audience. So the first question I'd like to address to Mr. Barun Banerjee, challenges. Among the various challenges facing the flexible packaging today, what do you perceive to be the most significant and why? So Barun, if you are here,
Yeah.
please give us your comment on this.
Yes,
And
good
you can,
afternoon, Deepak.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone in the
Yeah.
panel. And thank you, Rakesh. Thank you, even the delegates whom I heard about the different technology from the converters perspective, and it was quite insightful. So, Deepak, if I go for the one, so this is the challenge is uh, we have too many, the developments is one part of it. Another part of it, the regulation, which is ongoing changing. I think we need to see where will be the balance. Is it the plastic monomaterial or is it the circular economy? What is the right waste hierarchy which should be followed in the country, like developing market, developing country? Secondly, the solutions which are available, how can it be, we have a good ensuring supply, and what can be done at the full market level to adapt to those solutions so that we can scale up as a country to deliver to that demand.
So you are saying the regulations are constantly changing, that goalposts are moving, and
Yeah.
therefore the solutions are slow in coming. Uh, Perhaps because I believe you are in a hurry to leave, you could also explain your approach to the solutions, where in your opinion, what needs to be the most efficient approach towards finding solutions to the challenges faced by the flexible packaging.
Yeah, so challenges, if I look at solutions towards it, quickly, if I look at it, can it be a more standardized approach in the market by all the players? There is no competition around the material development. I would say we should arrive at a more available material, like in the discussion we heard about MDOP developing coming up, BOPP is coming up, the new machines improvements are coming up. So there should be one clear understanding that there is no technical know-how or secrecy in the development. It should be across the benefit with all the players in the country, so that it can be not one solution fits all, but similar solution which can be scalable. I think that should be the one of the very clear approach, so that the supply consistency, lead time, ensuring supply, as well as maintenance, the machine which every organization have could be, even from the machine supplier point of view, they can have a standardized change parts tools to run those materials, because end of the day, the packaging which is going in the market should be protecting the food products. It should retain the shelf life till the end of the consumer, till it reaches the end of the, so the fundamental of packaging should not be compromised, is something which I look at it as a common solution, as a holistic solution, not that it is a fix by each of the company. So that should not be the way forward.
So the what I hear from that is that the shelf life and other barrier properties or the safety of the pack should not be compromised because of the change in materials. Although there might be a point of view that the change of material should be by sacrificing some degree of shelf life, maybe improving
Yeah.
logistics and so on. So
Uh,
you can shorten shelf life demands and change. So at this point, I'll just request my other participants to put in a word, and then perhaps we can come back to you on this subject. But I'd like to start with Himanshi Khaneja. But you'd like to, from Mother Dairy side, what do you feel are the various challenges facing flexible packaging today, and what do you perceive to be the most significant and why?
Yeah, to start with, I would like to add that the advances in the material sciences have allowed the packaging industry to create a better flexible packaging material for the food and beverage industry so far. But keeping that aside, flexible packaging do have some challenges now in when we are talking much about the sustainability point of view. So from the sustainability angle, segregation and recycling is the challenge what we are facing. Secondly, to introduce the bio-based material into the packaging stream, the challenge is where machinery, ensuring that machinery can handle the recyclable or a biodegradable materials, and the new innovative packaging design is the operational challenge which we are facing to introduce that, to actually participate for the sustainable materials. And there are few pack mats where multi-barriers or a complex structure is required from food safety point of view. So we are working on the solution, but that will take some time to introduce more sustainable formats wherein we will have the right barrier requirement also, and to target the footprints also.
Right. So I think what I saw here from that is segregation is perhaps one of the biggest issues that you're facing.
Yeah.
Mr. Amiya Pradhan, Dabur, from Dabur, actually Dabur was recently in the news about becoming plastic neutral. And you'd like to explain a little bit about what the challenge, how these challenges were met, and how, what is the current challenge that you are grappling with? Because I believe Dabur has now has fully recycled all its waste plastic. Am I right?
Right. So yeah, good evening to everyone. So thanks for having me in this platform. Thanks to the PhD CCI team. Thanks, Mr. Rakesh. Thanks, Deepakji, for having me here, and thanks to the entire panel members. So see, the point I heard is, to listen about the deliverables from the brand side. So first and foremost thing from a brand owner perspective is, I should be able to sustain my brand, right? Without sustaining my brand at a commercial scale, I'll not be, coming to any such material, whether it is recyclable, whether it is PCR based, whatever the buzzword that we are talking about on, recyclability or sustainability, all those things that, to some extent, won't make any sense if I don't make my brand sustain all these things, whatever the challenges that, we are facing. Anyways, see, as a company level or a personal level also, I'm aligned to these sustainability goals. I'm also here to stay in this earth. We have this one earth only, and will not have any replication of this earth. So I understand all those criticality, but to sustain the brand label. So I'll come to this PCR and recyclable material a bit, but I'll first talk about the challenges as you mentioned. The first and foremost challenge is I'll segregate to machine and material. So I'll come to first material. So the cost, right? So whatever material that we are using today, practical sense, it is commercially not making any viability to me, to sustain that brand, because you'll see as a company like Dabur, mostly operate between the commercial means the products which are very commonly available to everybody, right? It's like commodities. So commodities, for giving an example, if I give an example of a shampoo sachet, right? So in Dabur, we mostly operate a shampoo in sachet categories, not in rigid categories, like the Unilever and other companies. They do, most of the business in rigid categories. But for us, flexible is the biggest one in our sachet, shampoo sachets. So if I sell that sachet at 1 rupee cost, I cannot increase that price, to have the competitive advantage or whatever, my sellable talking point. So when it comes to recyclable structure or PCR, the cost goes too high at whatever infrastructure is available as on today, as we are speaking. So it doesn't make any, I cannot sustain that brand to, to an extent, correct? So that's one of the biggest challenge that I have today. Suppose today I'm running at a, pet, telling something.
Okay. I mean, so,
Can I continue?
I'll interrupt you here. We'll just hold that thought. You're saying that sustainability cannot come without an extra cost. So we'll hold that there. Since my panelist Barun has to leave in the next couple of minutes, I'll request him to.
Deepak, I'll be there. You can continue. Not an
okay, we can continue.
Yeah,
okay,
please.
then I'd like to open the floor to Jikul and Sanjay, who have been holding on patiently listening to this. So Sanjay, would you like to first comment on what you've heard till now? Sanjay?
Yeah, first of all, good evening, everybody. And thank you so much to PhD, CCI, and all other members for having me on this platform. And I hope all are keeping safe and sound. First of all, I think we should, everybody understands packaging, but in our group DS, we value packaging as a fifth or sixth pillar of marketing. If we say that packaging is an emerging science, an emerging engineering discipline, and a successful contributor to all major industries, this is very heartening to accept that this is the only industry that contributes to every single product produced in an economy, and it is the world's third largest industry after food and energy. And in India's case, packaging is the fifth largest sector of India's GDP and is one of the highest growth sector in the country. During the last 50 years, plastic packaging has been playing a major role in the economic growth and our society's well-being. It is significantly helped to address major global challenges. All in all, plastic packaging has a strong value proposition. It is vital to protect and preserve goods in global value chains and contribute to prosperity and well-being of growing world population. But this value proposition is being challenged due to negative consequences. And that is mindset has to be changed. Whenever we say that plastic is a negative product. So I think we need to work on that, on the considering the linear system, which we are adopting. This is take, make, use, and dispose. So this contradiction between challenges and opportunities for plastic packaging, we call as the plastic paradox. And I think this need is to be changed by 7R, which I always say. This is recycle, refuse, reduce, reuse, repair, regift, and recover. So packaging
Right. So,
is a, yeah.
Sorry, I will stop you there. And I say, because now you have already outlined your main challenge as mindset. Mindset against plastic is the main challenge here. And that's when we talk about among the various challenges, mindset from your perspective is the big thing. Jikul, what are your comments on that?
Yeah. So good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I think all the fellow speakers have, said many of the point. Yeah. But in context of flexible packaging as an industry, what I believe very strongly is that, and sometimes this happens in reality, that some of your key strength at time becomes some of your biggest weaknesses. Yeah. So for flexible packaging, I think some of the strength which were there, one is it offers the best barrier. Yeah. Now today it has become like, there are n number of complex structure, and Barun, spoke about it, that in industry there are so many structures which are there. Also, one of the fellow speaker from Sepratech was mentioning that today there are multiple structures which are there. Probably industry need to harmonize or need to come to kind of few structure which can be addressed. Second is lower thickness, yeah, which offers you very less weight and low cost. But because of this, there is a low value which is attached to the flexible packaging, and that's where there is a challenge towards the end of life a solution or affordability towards the end of life solution. Also, Amey spoke about saying that today there is a low value which is there, and if you see all the business case which is there, none of them are made thinking the end of life cost or end of life value into the mind. And that is where tomorrow when we want to implement any solution, this becomes like one of the challenge, because it will increase the cost significantly. Versatility, which is one of the biggest advantage few years back, is today kind of hampering us as a complexity. So that's where I think in my view, I think some of the biggest strength which was there for flexible packaging, the strengths still remain, and probably when we see the flexible packaging in light of end-to-end analysis, yeah, compared to some of the other peer like rigid or a conventional material. Flexible is still a fantastic material as far as the carbon footprint is concerned, or suitability for application, but it also comes with its own end of life challenge, which we all need to come together to solve for.
Correct. So thank you very much. I think you really well summarized what the challenges are. And we've also heard during this discussion that there is a problem of shifting goalposts. The legal issues keep changing. There's a problem of mindset that people have a different, have a negative connotation about plastic, despite all the good that it's done. There are also issues regarding technology and developments and new materials. So here we have a mix of various things. The community is involved, technology is involved, R&D is involved, and as well as the statutory issues are involved. So where do you think the emphasis is? In your opinion, what needs to be the most efficient approach towards finding solutions to the problems, to the challenges faced by the packaging industry? Should we depend on technology and R&D to address issues? Should we look for biodegradability, recycling, and circular economy? Or how can you and I be a part of this EPR solution? You and I, when I mean, I don't mean packaging heads of brand owner companies, but I do mean consumers who are going out to buy these products. So I'd like to address these questions to each of you one by one. So we'll start with Barun. Barun, would you like to comment on this aspect?
Yes, Deepak.
Where are the solutions?
So Deepak, one point you touched rightly is that our regulation framework is now released. I think they are encouraging the food grade recycle PET now. So already FFSI has drafted the regulation. And also in the national EPR, we are seeing that from 25-26 onwards, there is a plan to use the recycle in the packaging. So I think direction is towards circular economy. We should not be touching too much on the non-renewable side of it. There is, I think that's key, that we avoid linear to move towards circular, so that the virgin plastic usage gets reduced. So that's how we are also looking at Nestle 1/3 of reduction by 2025.
Okay.
Secondly,
so on circularity.
Yeah. And secondly, what you said about you and I and the consumer, I think that what we should do is the IC activity more often with, running workshop, this kind of training, awareness, schools. I think really some engagement to understand it, because we still don't have the multiple bins to segregate our waste. So I think packaging panels should add this kind of usage of the packaging, the carbon footprint. To some extent we should start explaining people, so the backstory should start adding more of this kind of awareness in the process.
And anti-litter campaigns should gain strength. Himanshi, do you agree? What would you like to add to this?
Yeah, I would like to add that along with the points just now we discussed, in the food packaging, much of the food is being left in the packaging material. So we can educate the consumer to empty it and to make it more viable for the recycling. So there is need to make that. And secondly, much of the work around plastic waste management rules and everything is going on within the brands. So we need to educate them in a very simpler way, like what are the struggles and how we are collaborating for this initiative. And there is a need, we need to handhold with them. And what the little they can do is to avoid littering, to put it in a segregated bins and all. Then there is a technology now, the QR codes or the sensors are available, which we are using for the branding prospects, to adding fun value to the packaging. So we can add little bit about the recycling information to that, so that consumer can scan that and go through that and maybe more responsible in his ways.
So Amiya, is your company, for example, following any customer responsibility programs where you're encouraging customers to bring back their empty packaging, deposit return, or any such initiatives being done?
Right, Mr. Deepak. So we've started that activity. So we have tied up with a lot of institutions where we encourage these activities from consumer point of view. Means from consumers taking this returning those material, and we are also trying to put some stations in the malls, the modern trade channels. Wherein they can refill their packs. That we are encouraging that act, like oil or shampoo. They can take their empty bottles and they can refill. We have stations there, filling stations there, and even we have encouraged people, in terms of hair oil, like they can mix and match according to their hair category, the oils that they can mix and they can get it from that fountain. So that we are encouraging those activity. But having said so, as I mentioned earlier also, that has to be a little bit of encouragement for us also to use in terms of the material side and the machine side also. So those shoes manage, somebody mentioned that the machines should be properly running without any much of changing in our machine, so that it doesn't become capital intensive for us, right? So that kind of support is also required. That will encourage all the industries to go for this kind of recyclability or PCR. PCR is a direction that is set by the government also. Now the goal is clear. I think Varunda has mentioned clearly. So that year-wise the target is given. So we are also aligned to that. We are kind of developing those things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Sanjay, DS Group, change of mindset. How is DS Group addressing the change of mindset of its packaging consumers?
We are working in this direction for a very long time to reduce the carbon footprint in complete ecosystem, complete value chain system, right from packaging to manufacturing to logistics to construction to the building. So we are working in each and every direction. But I was hearing all the panelists. I am of something a different opinion. If we see, I think in packaging, especially for innovation, for development, for new structures, for machines, for technology, India is dependent on Europe and US and other countries. And after this pandemic, when globalization has taken a hit, when borders were closed, and after a few 2 decades ago, which was the prosperity of engine by transfer of technology, movement of people, everything was stopped. So we kept on working locally, regionally, India strategy. But so it is high time to accept that apart from manufacturing scale and capabilities, we in packaging need to invest a sizable pie in R&D, because otherwise it will be very difficult for us to keep on buying all the technology from abroad. And as the Dabur has expressed, that I strongly believe that sustainability can only be alive when the business are sustainable. If business are not sustainable, then how sustainability can work? So it is very high time to involve premier institutes like BITS, IIT, IIMs, DRDO, ISC on this platform, and to evolve some technology, so that ultimately consumer can get a right product. And as we see, India is one of the youngest nation, and most of the millennials are there, and they're going to rule the country till 2040, and they are the decision maker, and they believe in green packaging. So we don't have any option. We just don't have any option but to go with this. But for this, we need to have a very affordable solution for that. And for that, it is not practical to just by brand owners alone. It has to be very collective, and technology has to build up. I strongly believe in that. And at DS, we have already engaged these premier institutes, and we are working on certain projects, and we have already launched many new things which are recyclable or biodegradable.
Sanjay, we are already seeing, even in this presentation, we saw the imaging technology Totani has developed, Separatec has developed, Reifenhauser. So there's a lot of technology solutions which are already at the forefront, which have come. Are you saying that we should start reinventing the wheel and start looking at Make in India technologies, Make in India R&D? Jikul, I'll take your comment on that.
Yeah, I would like, there are two things. We need to see the India's strength. India's strength is manufacturing capabilities, scalability, but we need to import the technology. There is no need to develop technology here. and we should not keep on importing the raw material from Europe and other countries. So we need to import the technology. There need to reinvent and then scale up there. Only then it can be affordable. Otherwise, all duties, duty structure, import logistics values, you can see the logistic values have gone high in the last 1 year. So when things are not affordable, then there is no point of working on that. So we need to divide the one is business, one is development, and more thing is sustainable solutions to the consumer.
Yeah, also I have heard often that saying that some of the recycling and these technologies, sustainable technologies and segregation technologies being developed in the West or in other countries are not really very suitable for Indian conditions, where the mix of the solid waste or the packaging waste is a little different. And therefore, it may be necessary to do our own indigenous development. So for this, Jekul, you make a comment.
Yeah. So maybe on a previous one, little bit, and then on a indigenization of some of the technology. So I think many of the speaker spoke, the rules or the law is, moving only from collection to circularity. And I believe that in long term, a lot of global rule will move towards the end-to-end carbon efficiency or end-to-end carbon calculation, right? Typically in this space, I think no one, a player is important, or no one player can play the role. I think everyone has, their role to play. I personally am a believer, and I feel that, if we work collaboratively, so collaboration here is a key, yeah, to solve or to work on the issue. It can be global or indigenous solution, but when the whole industry work rather than competing, if we work together collaboratively, then definitely a solution can come. Customer, consumer, the R&D, the supply chain, everyone, has their own role to play to kind of, solve the challenge or the issue, starting with, waste segregation at a source, because first step for any system to effectively work, everybody will have to start segregating the waste, wherever it is. Yeah. So once effective collection is established, then the problem becomes almost like half, yeah, because then it can go to respective recycling stream, and it can be further um, um, either recovered or it can be recycled, yeah. And that's where I think globally the biggest challenge is that, manpower is a challenge. In India, I think we have a huge manpower. Collection was an issue, but over a period of time, if you see last 1 decade, I think government along with industry and NGO, they have done a commendable job. In our urban cities, most of the waste is now getting segregated, and it is going to kind of, material recovery centers wherein different material is segregated, like rigid plastic. Today, probably India is one of the best in terms of PET recycling, best in class in the world. Yeah. So similarly, I think so that's where I think we have people, we have manpower, and we have a bandwidth to kind of tailor the technology to suit our Indian kind of an requirement. And on ground, we have demonstrated, like, Indore is one of the best example, probably, in country, wherein the effective collection, the engagement with consumer, and everyone taking equal a participation and a role, and then on ground infrastructure, wherein, today, I think recently, Prime Minister has inaugurated the biggest composting or a biodegradable biogas plant in the country. Similarly, there are high-end automatic plant, and there are recycling unit which are kind of available. So that's where I think India as a fraternity is innovative enough. Once the challenge is given, and once the industry as well as the whole fraternity work in collaboration, I am sure the Indore model can be replicated across the country. And I am a strong believer that in next 1 decade, we will come out with a very, very strong solution to this problem, and with effective participation from all the industry member and consumer at a large, the litter issue or the litter challenge will definitely be resolved.
Thank you. I think that's pretty optimistically rounded up, summarized. But in the end, I'd like to take the last round of discussion. We are almost at the end of time for our discussion. But we must remember that we are talking on a platform which is being sponsored by the medium and small industries, MSME. And these are small, unorganized brands or smaller brands which don't have the kind of resources which big brands which we are representing here or talking about here can afford, the kind of technology and machines and processing that can be afforded by the bigger brands probably is not as easily available to MSME. And as Sanjay pointed out, that some of that effort has to come from local R&D, indigenous development, so that it can be much more widely distributed. So I'd like to take each of your comments on the how these solutions can be spread to a larger brand base, not just the big brands, popular brands, but also smaller unorganized sector brands. Barun?
Yeah, Deepak. So I would go by saying that reimagining packaging, redesigning packaging. I think as a packaging fraternity, we should be responsible for the material quantity we are using. If we can reduce packaging, is something, we can make consumer aware that bigger looking pack doesn't mean that you have more content. I think we should have a headspace reduction kind of continuous project. Make the pack fit for purpose. I think what it is required, you should be giving it. Second, I would say with the recycle food grade polymer encouragement government is bringing in, I think we will even every sector will be benefiting out of it. If we start using in secondary packaging to start with, and then it goes around the direct food contact, I think it would be the right approach to start contenting the material. You content the material and you start reusing it. I think with this two approach, I believe that we can really make a big impact for the MSME and support them. Definitely.
Thanks. Himanshi, you would like to add to that?
Yeah. Again, the first point is by optimizing the existing packaging material which we are having. We need to look at the purpose and the performance needed by the packaging material, and thereby we can reduce or remove some of the layers or additives which is not required right now. So we should go by the performance of that packaging material, and we should rightly made it. Maybe reworking is needed now with the betterment of the new technology, and we will have a new better structure in our hand. And by doing so, we will be actually optimizing cost also. Then second is, many of the MLP is required for the functionality, but we have seen many products are using MLP for better machinability or something. So there is a possibility to convert it to a better recycling monolayer structures where MLP is not required for the barrier requirements, just for the machinability. Yes, some tweaking or modifications is needed in the machines with respect to the sealing parameters and all. That can be worked on, and one can have a better recycling plastic material in those of the products. So it can be implemented by doing a little work at their end, and that would be really useful.
So reimagining plus packaging and tweaking structures. Amir, do you feel that this kind of work will be done by the brand owner, from the brand owner side, or from the vendor side, from the converter side? Where will the initiative be?
So it's a collaborative approach actually. So we strongly believe that's the future only, means optimizing, re-optimizing, or value engineering in any packaging material that we do. Because as a packaging fraternity, as Baruna mentioned, we are the responsible for that as corporate level and even at personal level also. So you're responsible for the packaging material that you use. So continuous real value engineering has to be done. Having said so, as to answer your question, how MSMEs, that can get some, offering from this, I see a lot of opportunity for the MSMEs actually. But I strongly also agree with Mr. Sanjay that he mentioned all the technologies that have to be indigenized, so that our MSMEs, they can actually capitalize on that indigenized technology. That's why, their conversion cost, both fixed and variable, having that can be reduced, and that cost competitiveness that can be passed on to the users like us, and our option is, our purchasing is based on our reverse auction thing. So they have actually, better scope, so that, the cost goes drastically below, because the cost of conversion, both fixed and variables, are low in terms of MSMEs. So there is a big scope. But having said so, they need to invest on that, indigenized technologies, and they cannot depend on the, overseas technology. So that's the challenge that we have. Yeah.
Thanks. So Sanjay, we've got Amia is agreeing with you on indigenizing the technology. So one quick last word. We are already overshot our time. So just one quick last word from you and another comment from Jikul. We can.
I will just sum up in 2-3 lines. We should understand that India is a price-sensitive, mass-populated country. So all these value engineering exercises are our basic principle. So as we see, we need to see packaging from a consumer point of view, not from as a packaging technologist. First point. On a larger scale, we need to invest in startups. You must have seen Shark Tanks, where we see that in every house there is an entrepreneur. So we as a group are investing in a lot of startups, encouraging them, because the concept or the technology or the new things they can develop, it is very difficult to develop with the larger players. Only thing we need to do hand-holding, finance them, advise them, connect them with the larger players. So we are doing this exercise at our level. And we are very pleased to tell that we are very successful in doing this. All these MSME sector is being developed for that. And ultimately, we as a nation are getting advantage. We are adding more value to GDP of our nation. So as per latest survey of GII, India has been ranked 48th on innovation index in 131 economies. And in last 4 years, India has produced the one of the most unicorns and startups. So we should take that route by involving the premium institutes and help this young team, which can help the whole industry, and which is much quicker. Decision making is so fast. So this is all what I want to tell.
We heard the gentleman from Totani also talking about the Indian Jugaad, and that Jugaad is taking us to the 48th place on the index. That's great. Jikul, do you want to say?
Sir, sorry, I differ with that. Jugaad. Now India doesn't run on Jugaad. The size of the country India has, the achievement India has gained, it cannot be on Jugaad. It is on the intellectual wisdom, intellect, knowledge, skill. So if anybody is saying it is on Jugaad, so I refute that and I revolt on that. So India
Jugaad needs to be redefined.
Yeah, yes.
We need to make Jugaad more respectable in the world.
Yeah, like packaging should be more respectable.
Yes. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Last word.
So Deepak, I kind of taking over from where Sanjay stopped. There are brands. I've seen there are smaller brands. There are startup brand who from day one is coming with a purpose-led thinking. Yeah, there are brands who are talking, like smaller brands who are talking, saying that from day one, they are collecting more than what they are putting in the market, or they are already, using a recycled plastic. Yeah, so that's where I think the future, and at some point the consumer is also today demanding that. So the future is probably, moving from thinking only the price to going from price and purpose together. Yeah, and it's not or, but it is and kind of a mentality. So price and purpose rather than price or purpose, which people were doing. And second thing is, I think till now, for bigger or a smaller brands, the thought process was compliance, saying that, okay, government has made a rule, now I need to comply with it. So what is the bare minimum requirement? I will go and I will do that. Probably from there, we need to move to collaboration, wherein power of a collective network and the whole industry coming together needs to come to resolve the issue. So these are my two submission, saying that it should be possibilities, it should be paradigm shift, and it should be purpose-led innovation which is required in the industry, and collaboration is the key to success for all of us.
Very well rounded up. And I think what you have heard there is also that when somebody mentioned that sustainability comes at a price, what we are also seeing is the consumer is willing to pay that extra price for the sustainability, for a better product which is more responsible to the environment. So with this, I'd like to close the discussion. Thank you very much. Each one of you have contributed great points. And I hope people who have been listening to us could make sense of the various streams of thoughts that are going on. We have challenges and we have got solutions, and we have optimism, we have faith, and above all, we have a redefined sense of jugaad. So I hope we will get somewhere. Thank you very much for this participation.
Thank you, Mr. Manchanda. Thank you. Since
you.
our international speakers are also here, I would also like to request them if they also want to say something on the discussion took place. So they are most welcome to say. Mr. Tosio, if you want to say something. And Mr. Chris, yes, unmute, sir.
Oh yeah. No, not so much, but I really enjoyed your discussion, and thanks to bring jugaad issues. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Christoph.
Yeah, thank you very much for the valuable discussion and giving the insights from the brand owners a view on that issue. Very valuable input. Thank you very much. I enjoyed the session today. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have some questions. So I don't know whom it is to be targeted, but let me read it out. We have a few questions only. One is metallized plastic packaging waste contains polymers like polypropylene, polyethylene, terephthalene, along with good amount of aluminum. What could thermal or chemical process to separate and recover them? So anyone who want to answer, please. Can I read it again?
Yes, I think you should read it again.
So metallized plastic packaging waste contains polymers like polypropylene, polyethylene, terephthalene, along with good amount of aluminum. What could thermal or chemical processes to separate and recover them?
I think the gentleman from Separatech would be able to answer this.
Okay, I think he left because he has another meeting.
Yes.
So,
so in case if I can, probably, again, it's not a very specific, but I think a generic answer. And typically for metallized or for very thin barrier kind of a material, I think chemical recycling would be, or at a first level, the mechanical recycling, wherein not that the material can be recovered, but it can be transformed into another application, like making a composite board, which can be used for any other application, could be the first level of usage for a very metallized kind of an substrate. But there are few chemical technology, and for different material, I think a different technology. So either pyrolysis or gasification, can be used for recovering the valuable plastic, and the metal will come out. Some of it can be recovered, and some of it will probably have to go as an energy recovery kind of a phase. Yeah. So I think globally there are multiple technology which is developing in pyrolysis, in gasification, broad classification under chemical recycling, and some of those can be used to effectively recycle the metallized substrates?
Pyrolysis may be the most effective in this case.
Although that's the most basic form of recovery, waste to energy, but waste to repurposing or recycling, that those are the higher forms of recycling, which I think the questioner may be looking for. But I think this question could be addressed to Separatech.
Okay, thank you. So we'll be forwarding it to Separatech. And next question is, how does monolayer compare with compostable laminate in terms of sustainability?
That's
if I can go, I think monomaterial is more sustainable in the sense of circular economy, plastic circular economy. It will go and get back into the system again and again. Whereas the the compostability is a linear economy. I think it is getting straight to the waste unless and until you are recycling like paper. But otherwise, compostable plastic is one way.
So, Varun, I can add to that in my view, compostability depends on responsible consumer behavior, whereas recyclable material depends on producer responsibility, or the organizations which producers put up to. So, these are two different sides. If you feel that your consumer is responsible enough to return, then depend on compostability, because compostability is also under certain conditions that composting happens. But recyclability is a more universally sustainable process. That would be my.
Very true. And also these have some plant or based or food chain based material which is you are synthesizing and you are getting to this compostable plastic route. So if the compostable plastic can be recycled to a level, then definitely. But if it is one way, I think situation would be more you will be spending on it. But definitely when it comes to products like single-use plastics, maybe the compostability is a one-way use. If it is a one-way product, then that can be a solution towards either molded pulp or some kind of biodegradable polymer.
Right.
So maybe just would like to add, I think on-ground infrastructure plays the most important role, right? If the on-ground infrastructure is having a separate collection stream wherein compostable materials can be separated and it can be in reality composted, then probably compostable materials will add value. But otherwise, recyclability or kind of monomaterial will always be at a one level higher than the compostable material in the overall circular economy loop. Yeah. And that's where sometime one of the misnomer is that if you write a tag saying that something is compostable, we believe this even if I throw it somewhere else, automatically it will disappear. And something like that need to be kind of clarified. And I think all of us need to understand and know. And things like design for recycling or design for end of life in mind, kind of methodologies to be used, and then right application and right material combination to be used. There are applications where compostable will add value, but I think wherever possible, first we should look at a recyclable solution.
I would like to add. Recently, we did a project with one of the premier institute of India, wherein we call it the recovery of material. It is a recovery of material, whether it is a plastic or as a paper or as a foil, everything can be separated through a technology. Wherein what you are doing, it is a circular economy. You are getting recovery of material. You are fetching money also. So this is with the help of one premier institute, and we are going to launch it commercially also. So again, this is the strength of our institutes and entrepreneurs available in India, provided you work with them very, very closely and tell them the gap what you want to achieve.
in addition to what Jitun has said, actually compostable can be used for the material like where ready-to-eat material is food is to be served. Since it can be thrown away along with the food and both can be composed together, and we should have industrial compost for that. So that is additional facility which is required at the national level.
Thank you. So we move on to the next question. It is addressed to Mr. Christoph. How can recycled PE be used in the process explained by you? Mr. Christoph.
Yeah. How can the recycled PE use? That was the question.
Yes, yes.
Well, let's answer the how. With regard to the applications, we used it so far for especially bags, trash bags, as a say second life product for those recycled resins. But we also target right now with a customer applications like collation shrink, so shrink film for six packs. So say secondary packaging is our target products, which we want to which we are looking at as a product out of these granules. I hope this is answering the how a little bit.
Okay, thank you. And another question is, what is the haze percentage that is achieved in the MDOPE?
Yeah, haze is between, strongly depending on the recipe, between 4.5% up to 9%. So best case is 4.5, what you usually achieve. So with, say, most of the recipes, you end up at a level of 6 point something to 7.
Okay.
For the stretched MDO-PE film.
And one more question is, in case of barrier film based on PA and EVOH, which compatibilizer is being used in Europe?
Or there are types of Dow chemicals which you will find on the internet. I don't know the brand name, but you will find it for sure on the internet. Yeah.
Retain. Brand name is Retain.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think these were the questions shortlisted, but there were several questions I think which are to be compiled and will be addressed separately to the individual speakers. So with this, I think we come to the end of today's day one session, and tomorrow we'll be talking more on future ready flexi tubes. So thank you so much for joining us, and I also extend my sincere thanks to Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises for helping us in organizing this global summit on flexible packaging. And I also thank Indian Institute of Packaging for supporting us. And I also thank Totani Corporation for being the associate partner of this summit. And with this, I request all our esteemed speakers, those who have joined us, and our special thanks to all of you, and especially to Mr. Deepak Manjanda for excellently moderating the today's session. Thank you so much. And thank you all the panelists for actively participating in the discussions, and looking forward for more such sessions with you, because we have recently, I think it's over 1 year that we have set up a National Expert Committee on Packaging in PhD chamber, because packaging is one of the important subject. So that committee was newly formed because of that. And the Ministry of Commerce has also given us exclusively printing and packaging sector to take up. And in that assignments from the Ministry of Commerce, we are not only organizing conferences and other events in India, but we also took participation in overseas event also, where we used to take lot of Indian companies for demonstration of their machinery, their indigenous technology to the other countries also. So that's what our packaging committee is doing. And thank you so much to all of you.
Rakeshji,
Mr. Pillai, you want to
Rakeshji, I want to leave a question.
Okay.
Just half a minute. I want to leave a food for thought and question to all participants and speakers. It is a crucial time to think whether the conventional yardstick to measure the economic performance of a nation by GDP growth based model is leading to fast depletion of natural resources and wealth. Is it right or not? So I think we should all think that we keep on discussing on GDP 10.5, 9.5, 3.5 at the cost of depletion of natural resources. And then we talk about the circular economy, linear economy, monolayers. So I think we all need to think on that factor also, how much we should invest in the budget session for the green economy.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah. Mr. Pillai, you want to say something? The last.
No, just that we are really overwhelmed by the response. The participation level was excellent, and it's always good to see relevant people, relevant discussions. Generally, in such webinars, you talk general, and we don't have specifics. But this time, we had a lot of specific issues being addressed. So I'm really glad this happened, and thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for making this event a grand success. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And
all the best.
I invite all the delegates, those who have joined us, to join tomorrow as well, because tomorrow also we'll be having future ready FlexiTube subject, whereas we will having a speaker not only from India but also from Switzerland, Bulgaria, and Germany as well. Thank you so much, and look forward to have an excellent session tomorrow as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.